Again, I appreciate coming on, Jake. I been a big fan. I was looking back at your YouTube, and I had been at least probably since like the second or third video, I've probably been subscribed and following. So I
Oh,
got like the red bar all the way across for most of your videos. And
wow.
you're coming up on 2 years this month, it looks like. So big congratulations to you. So those of you that don't know, most of them probably do. But the 7 people that don't know Jake on my channel are probably all my family. Um, Jake is a Pokemon collector, Harry Potter. Pretty much, we'll get into what you collect, but just to give you a little intro from me, big time collector in a bunch of different categories. His YouTube's honed in more on Pokemon and the economics, which is why his channel is called Pokénomics. Also has an awesome Patreon that I'm part of and highly recommend it to everybody. And I'll have all of your info linked down below. But yeah, it's awesome to see you getting into this. Been doing it for 2+ years ish in YouTube space, and really looking forward to talking to you, man. So if you could just a little intro for yourself would be cool.
Thank you. I really appreciate those kind words. That's amazing that you've been watching.
That's a long time, man.
Didn't know that. That's really cool. Yeah, thank you. And I'm really glad that you enjoy the content, and it's awesome that you're making, a lot of the same, similar sort of topics of content, or some of it. And it's just great to see more and more people starting channels. When I started my channel, it was definitely, although a lot of us, I think, started around the same time, there were definitely less channels doing this sort of stuff. And it was one of those things about like create the content you want to see or you want to see more of. So that was fully why I started. And I started with a friend of mine, Rafi, who still comes on the channel occasionally. And hopefully we'll do more videos together soon. I think he's hopefully going to come to Collecticon with me, some of the Collecticons, and maybe meet some people and just hang out. But yeah, so yeah, that's the story of the YouTube channel. Is just wanted to talk about the market with people, create a community around that, talk about my experiences, the things that worked for me, that helped me, some of the mistakes that I made along the way in terms of collecting, making purchases that maybe I regretted or not the smartest purchases. And just talking about like my love and enjoyment of economics, markets, psychology, philosophy, of all that stuff. And yeah, I love Pokemon cards. My Pokemon story just is very similar to lots of people our age, around our age. Just absolutely loved it as a kid, was obsessed with the cards immediately as soon as I saw them. I would say the cards in the video game was definitely red, blue, and yellow were definitely the things for me. I played that video game throughout my childhood, and although I didn't collect cards beyond, I probably stopped collecting when I was in 5th grade or so, and didn't collect any cards or anything till I was then 28 or 29. Or 27 actually, I think, so when I got back in. Either way, I did play the video games. Like whenever I would get sick and go back to my mom's house, I would go find my game and try to beat it with a new team or the same old team. And when I was about 27, I was home for a little bit and I found some of my old cards, and that's when when the journey started, when I went online, looked up the value, saw the market, learned about grading, saw channels like Gem and Pokemon, SM Pratt, Rudy from Alpha Investments, TCA Gaming, the channels that were going on at that time, and just watched all of their content, just like you said, every video I watched. And just absorbed all that info, and then started doing it myself. And really, I was very optimistic about the potential future, and I could not believe that these cards from my childhood, that I had such a strong nostalgic connection or whatever to them. Like when I saw them, they made me so excited to own them. And I couldn't believe how rare a lot of these cards were in terms of like high grade and how low pops. And there were all these low pop, extremely low pop, 10 in the world, 20 in the world, 30 or 40 in the world. And they were like $20, $30, $40, $50. And that just seemed crazy as compared to comic books or even like MTG, Alpha, Beta, sports cards. It just seemed crazy. And I did have a little bit of knowledge and experience in. My dad's is an art collector and has been a collector of other sorts of things my whole life. So I had a little bit of. I always watch like, what's it called? I always watch things like Pawn Stars and things like that. But I used to watch Antiques Roadshow a lot growing up. So I've always loved collectibles, collecting, and the money side, and like figuring out how much stuff is worth. And so I think I brought that mindset pretty immediately to the space, and I think believed in some of that potential or saw some of that potential when I first started back in, and then I just went really hard and I put like all of my money basically that I was making at the time, like all of my excess money into Pokemon initially for a few years. That's where I got my collection from. And then started the YouTube channel a couple years ago. And when Pokemon really took off, to your point that you were talking about earlier, that's when I really got into like all of the other TCGs and CCGs, kind of trying to buy them up before people then moved from Pokemon to the next thing. And that was sort of the framework and the pattern. When Pokemon ballooned up in price, 5, 10, 20, 30x on some cards in a year, I just was like, okay, this is, crazy. I'm gonna there's so many cool cards, there's so much cool stuff to collect, and I'm gonna go work on those collections. And now I collect, there must be 40 different types of sets and different things that I collect. So it's gotten pretty long.
40. That's 40 different TCGs, you think?
Not TCGs, definitely. Okay. A lot of the stuff that I collect is actually stuff from like the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. Yeah. But it's all mostly pop culture collectibles. So Disney stuff, Superman, Batman stuff from like the 1960s, Marvel stuff from the 1960s, and forward. A lot of war cards, like Hearts of War, like 1938 Hearts of War is a very famous classic set for people who are really into cards. They would have heard of that and know that these types of cards. Yeah. I also collect like graded playing cards from like the 1880s, 1890s. So that's I get the 40. I do Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon, Harry Potter, Power Rangers, MetaZoo, Flesh and Blood. There's probably, now I'm into like One Piece and some other things. There's probably maybe 10 TCGs I would see, or CCGs, Middle Earth, Dragon Ball Z Score, but a lot of non-TCG stuff too.
Yeah, so like you're collecting roots, like you said, you had Pokemon cards, you played the game. Were any of those other TCGs behind you part of your childhood, or is it kind of just stuff you watched Dragon Ball, you watched Harry Potter, you read Harry Potter? Is it all just kind of just relatable to what you were doing?
Yeah, everything that I'm buying pretty much is relatable to stuff that I did when I was a kid. Yeah. One Piece I actually didn't watch until I was an adult. A couple of like the Weiss Schwartz sets that I got into, some of the animes like I didn't really watch as a kid, but outside of that, all the other stuff I mentioned were just like all my favorite things as a kid. Harry Potter, DBZ, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon, and Power Rangers. I was obsessed with Power Rangers before I got into Pokemon when I was like really little.
Oh yeah. Did you play any actual tournaments for any trading card games, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or anything?
I did not play, which is a little strange because I'm super, super into games, and I've always been into games, but I'm way more into board games. I play a lot of board games, and for some reason, I played a little bit of Magic, but I just never got into it. My friends and I like made up our own rules. Like we never knew how to play when we were kids. We like made up our own rules a couple of times, but it was just all about collecting. Yeah.
Yep. Have you ever played like a tabletop deck building game like Resident Evil, anything like that? Like
Nope.
there's actually like not trading cards. You buy like a box that
Mm.
comes with a preset 200 cards, and you set them out different piles. You take turns buying each turn. It's like a board game. You can't get different cards in different boxes, but it's actual cards. It's pretty cool.
Hmm.
So it's like you get both best of both worlds.
Is that one that you would recommend? Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll pick it up. We're always looking for like new games. My girlfriend and I and some of our friends, we love games.
Yeah, like honestly, the original Resident Evil deck building game. They made probably 4 different ones.
Okay.
The original one will open Pandora's box to all. There's so many. There's actual dedicated stores locally to me to just the deck building games. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah,
I did Hearthstone for a little bit. I'm just remembering. I did play that, which is a card game.
Yep.
And I probably played 20 to 30 games of Pokemon on the online Pokemon game.
Yeah, Hearthstone money sucked the crap out of me, and then I got out of that. It just couldn't trade cards, couldn't sell skins. I was just taking L's every 3 months. It's crazy. Did you ever look into the World of Warcraft trading card game, which transpired?
I've looked into it. I was not a World of Warcraft player. I was a RuneScape player.
Yeah.
Like me and my friends loved RuneScape and obsessively played that way too much for a few years there early in high school. It was so fun though. I don't regret it, but yeah, not the healthiest amount of time you could do. I could have probably done. Young Jay could have probably done a little more balance back in those days, but yeah. So I just don't feel a connection to World of Warcraft, like and the characters in the story that much. So I looked up the card game because I thought maybe I'd buy some of it, but it was already very expensive, and the booster boxes are quite expensive, and I'm just not. Like one day if I like complete a lot more of these things, I could see myself maybe like, I'm a completionist. I want everything, but I'm in like no rush. That's definitely one of my things about collecting is there is no end. And so, just follow what you like and pace yourself.
Yeah, like I said, I played Hearthstone quite a bit, so I had a lot of nostalgia for the trading card game because they copied the arts from the cards and put them in the game.
Nice.
So those are pretty sick. There's like that's how I started my YouTube, is opening World of Warcraft booster boxes. It was like 7 of them in a row, and it was pretty cool. That's
awesome. I know there are some fairly expensive cards, and I know there's some prize cards that are quite expensive, I've heard.
Yeah, the scratch off things. Yeah, it's easily faked, I guess, nowadays, which is scary. So watch out for that. But Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm a big fan of that, and I know you've always shared a lot of Bandai cards. And said you're trying to complete eventually a PSA 10 Bandai set, which would be insane, awesome. Because there's a lot of those are like sub pop 10. A lot of them
have 0 graded in 10.
There is a handful of zeros, which is crazy. But so that connection to Yu-Gi-Oh was probably then just the anime.
Yeah. I never played, and that wasn't even like played around me. Like I think from what I understand, Yu-Gi-Oh was played mostly after Pokemon, like 2-3 years after. And I think me and my friends were just not into cards at all anymore by the time like more people were maybe playing Yu-Gi-Oh. So it was a little bit of like, just in my town, like every town is different, when you talk to people, but it just like wasn't a thing. Whereas Magic was being played a little bit by people. Yeah. I remember that, but I never saw Yu-Gi-Oh like at all around me when I was into cards. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Yu-Gi-Oh's timing was perfect because it was like 2002, 2003, right when Pokemon, those kids were getting older. But there was a lot of kids in the closet that didn't want to get beat up at school or get made fun of, so they just played card games like myself, just in the background. But it's they definitely capitalized on the timing because Pokemon was trending down, and it was perfect for them, that's for sure. But How's your PSA 10 Bandai set coming?
It's got a long way to go. I do have the majority of it completed at a 9 now. Although I will say a lot of the most expensive harder cards I do not have. so I only have in lower grades than that. But the non-hollow part of it, I have maybe 2/3 completed in at least a 9. I probably only have like 15 10s, and I think that I don't remember exactly how many cards there are, but certainly over 100. It's 3 different sets, basically. They're 3 different sets, and then there's some of those very expensive promo cards that came with it.
Yep. Yeah, I like the Mirror Force, Swords of Revealing Light. Those things are a little pricey for me.
Yes.
One day, right?
They're just too expensive. Like, I don't like them enough. And it's one of those things that there's just so many options. Like, I really like Yu-Gi-Oh! Bandai, but like not $5,000, $4,000. I would much rather buy. I always come back to Pokemon when I get into that price range. Like, I'd much rather buy something in Pokemon because I like Pokemon better. Just for me personally, it's more connected to my life.
So, what was the last game you played? Have you kept up with the games at all, or no?
I did buy the Sword and Shield game because I actually bought a Switch like a year and a half ago, and to be honest with you, I didn't even finish it. I played, I keep wanting to go back and finishing it, but I did the wild, but I never even finished the whole story, which shows that maybe it wasn't the most engrossing game in the world for me. I am interested to see Pokemon maybe changing it up a little bit and doing some different things in their games. I also I have not been playing that many video games like the last year of my life actually at all. I tend to play more like board games online. If I'm playing something on the computer, or like board games in person with people. So I think part of it's that I'm not like a huge video game player these days.
Yeah. What's the go-to board game?
I don't know if I have a go-to. Right now we've been playing like Wingspan a lot. We recently got Wingspan. If you've that game before.
I've heard of it, but
yeah, it's a beautiful game. It's also great for a lot of different people because it's people who just love like bird facts and bird information. The cards are very beautiful. They have all the different birds on them, and they actually relate to the birds themselves. Like, my mom loves birds, and she was like willing to play the game, even though she doesn't like really like games. That type of thing.
That's cool.
But playing that, we played a couple of my friends, a college friend of mine and a high school friend of mine who both live around here, came over and we played I'm blanking on the name. Eldritch Horror. You've heard of those games? Those like co-op beat the board game games, which was fun. Those are 2 games I played in the last week.
You got a collectibles room and you got like a board game room.
We don't have that many board games. We have probably like 6 board games, which might be a lot. I'm not sure. But my friend Rafi, who we go play games with sometimes, Rafi has a lot of games. He has like 20 games or something, 20 different board games and lots to choose from.
Yeah, I remember I was just watching back some of the first. So how did the YouTube come together for you guys? We were sitting around drinking some beers one time. We're like, let's do this, or what? Like, how'd you guys figure out you're gonna turn it on and start recording?
I believe it was Rafi's idea. It's a little hard for me to remember now, but I'm pretty sure Rafi was the first person to be like, we should do something on YouTube or do like a podcast, just sort of talking about this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm down, basically. And because it was also at the start of the pandemic, and so I had more time because I was working part-time with adults in a clinic, but also part-time with kids. And the kids work I was doing was in school, and they had shut down basically. People from my profession were no longer going in person, so they just sort of shut it down. So 50% of my job was over basically, and so I was getting like half unemployment, and so didn't need to like find another job. So I started a YouTube channel, and that was sort of what happened, and that's also part of why I over time took more and more of it. because Rafi works like, and still was at the time and still does, works a very very beyond full-time job.
Gotcha.
That he has 3 kids and he's just a very busy guy. So, and I really wanted to. My channel is definitely not regular. we do not post that much, but I do try to post like most weeks, at least one video, ideally a couple. And even that was like, a burden on his schedule and just difficult to constantly have to try to track him down and him feeling guilty that he can't give enough time, those types of things. So that's sort of the story of that.
You still get 50% of the AdSense check though, right? That $10, $20 a month.
Deal that we came up with was he gets 50% of every video that he is in. That's how
There you go.
That it would make sense.
That's cool. So that Star Wars collection he just posted, you get 0.
I still get 50% of those. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I get 50% of he gets 50% of every video that he is in. So I get a larger percentage, I guess, of the channel for the one who put most of the work into building it.
Yeah,
I think.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean those videos make $1, $3. So we're talking about, not the most amount of money in the world.
Yeah, so I guess we got to thank Rafi for bringing you to YouTube, huh? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's possible I wouldn't have done it myself. I feel like I was also thinking about maybe doing something, but I think he was the first one to bring it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so when
just
were
sort
you
of
consuming? Were you
please.
consuming like any at that time, like YouTube Pokemon content?
Mostly Z&G Emporium, James. A little bit Rudy. I always watched.
Yeah.
That's most of what at that specific time I was watching.
Yep. Yeah, because you're probably just getting into it and discovering things, and because I had mentioned it, I don't know, a couple times, but it's basically when you turn on YouTube and you type in Pokemon, first thing you're going to see is PokeRev, Leonhardt, and those guys. So I of course ran into those PokeRev. I followed him and then followed his PWCC stuff that he was doing live every Sunday, which was awesome, which is kind of why I do it because I loved it. And so it trickled down, finally found you, which was not too long after PokeRev. So I think I don't remember when he started. It was 2019 or I think it was 2019. And you had started in 2020, so it wasn't too far before you. So yeah, it's crazy. Everything's evolving because he does not do any PWCC stuff anymore, and it's crazy how times are changing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a bunch of boxes. Though basically, you had heard that you went live yesterday. You had said you'd like to keep most of your collection on you and not at a vault. So is that basically your slabs? And do you have a preferred type of box you use? Because I've been looking for one for all of my stuff.
So my stuff is a lot of it's here. The most expensive stuff, the very, very expensive stuff, some of it is here, but it's also in 2 other places. But I do have access to those places pretty easily.
Yeah.
So I won't give any more information than that. I don't know.
That's good.
Who the hell knows, right? Without stuff, I do get a little nervous, but I don't know. You only have one life, so
life goes on. Yeah, just don't give out addresses. You'll be all right.
If I get robbed or something bad happens, it's just things at the end of the day. But
yep, don't want to over leverage yourself, and which is what you preach all the time. So it's
for sure
just things, right?
Yes.
Children's card games. That's all. That's what you're playing with, pretty much.
Yeah, stuff we enjoy.
So when you said you were 27 when you kind of jumped back into collecting, what year was that?
It was like 2017-ish. I don't remember if it was 2016. It might have been I think it was the tail end of 2016, like the last month or so, going into 2017.
Yep. Yeah. That's I completely missed all of that. My friend was playing Pokemon competitively, so I'd hear things. I'd heard about evolutions, but I didn't get into it till COVID happened. So sad. I'm glad I'm here now, but it's I missed out on a whole lot of stuff, so it's crazy. You got any big collection goals that you're working towards in cards or comics or anything?
Nothing but goals, man. There's tons of things that I'm constantly working on. I feel like I'm working on like 10 things at once, and I just wait until I see the deal that I'm looking for. So I just wait to see a good deal. So I'm still trying to complete WotC sets, in first edition, PSA 10. I'm still trying to complete every era. I mean, I don't know if there might be like one or two sets that I have completed that I'm really like, that I'm not buying at all. Pretty much everything. So I'm still have, one card missing or two cards missing. And then in other hobbies, I have, I'm still looking for, there's 1,000 cards I'm, at least probably that I'm looking for right now. I've been working a lot on Sun and Moon recently and trying to complete some of my Sun and Moon sets. Particularly like the rainbow rares. Like I want to complete all the rainbow rares. I like the rainbow rares. They were, important to me when I got in the hobby. I was excited. I have a, just like a personal relationship sort of chasing them. I do want to complete those just for my own personal collection. And that's sort of what I've been working on lately as far as collecting. And there are a lot of them. And I think I'm maybe 4/5 of the way done. But I've done a lot of buying recently to get there.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's any raw stuff. Like I saw you do have binder collections, but I know you were breaking them kind of apart, weren't you? So
yeah, my binders are like have lots of spaces these days. I'm working on completing my PSA goals first.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the binder stuff, occasionally I do buy collections and I'm able to, like they have some PSA cards, they have some ungraded, and then I fill some stuff out. Like I bought a collection not too long ago that had a complete shadowless base set in it, and I was able to fill back up some of those like shadowless holes. Like the Charizard probably would only grade like a 5 maybe, so I just threw it in the binder to fill that up. That's what I'm sort of looking at for cards that are that expensive. And obviously you could still grade a PSA 5 shadowless Charizard, but the one that I took out was more like an 8, and I'm not keeping that in a binder anymore.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. It's a never-ending battle, pretty much. Just PWCC, Golden, Heritage, eBay, just constantly grinding through them to find cards that are for the collection or 60% of value and just buying to sell. Or it's a good time. Do you have a preferred auction house like eBay, any of those 4?
No, I mean, I probably do most of my buying off of eBay just because that's where most of the stuff is, but I'm always looking, Heritage, I've gotten some really good deals. PWCC, I've gotten some really good deals. There's also just been lots of cards going over price. It's PWCC is so all over the place. It feels like the last 4 months. Obviously there was some stuff that was very, very obviously shilled, some trophy cards and different things that have now come back. That people didn't pay for, $40,000 for a card that was selling for $5,000 on, $10,000 on eBay, that sort of stuff. But even beyond that, just a lot of $50, $100 cards selling for $150, $200 when there's like a best buy offer, buy it now for that same price or lower, on eBay. So people do get caught up in auctions and you just like really want a card. And sometimes it's a really strong copy and you never know. I mean, someone could be buying a card because they want a really strong copy, or they want to crack it and maybe try to grade it with BGS. So you really don't know, what people are thinking. People will pay premiums for strong 10s or strong 9s or whatever. But there's also shill bidding. So that also exists too. So it can be hard to, determine what it is sometimes.
Yeah, your colleague, Mr. Catchmall Collectibles, just posted his video kind of talking about the hidden sales and all of that, and it really would be nice to have some type of, even eBay, to go back, have a better transparency of some sales instead of having to use a sketchy website where you got to click off 7 ads and just see a sale. It's pretty it's crazy that in this century that we have this issue.
Yeah.
It's wild. You're speaking of Dan, your guys' Patreon. Really enjoy the Discord. I pretty much broke my virginity for Discord. I had never touched it in my life, so it's pretty awesome.
I had never either.
Yeah, it's pretty cool,
Yeah.
man. It's pretty much boomers here, I guess, but I'm sure everybody under the age of 27 knows what Discord is and has used it for pretty much everything, it seems, for school and
Pokemon started Discords for me. I never did it before. I think I was in a Discord once for a game called Tribal Wars that I played a while back for like a short period of time. They forced me. They like twisted my arm
nice.
to be on Discord. I like really resisted. But then the other, like, then I literally got a Discord for, I'm in a Discord with some friends and some people to talk about trophy cards. And then I joined the E4 Discord, which I didn't really go on, honestly, ever. And then my Discord, starting that, and I resisted that for a while too, because but it's just such an easy, free place to interact. It's kind of, it's a great service. So
Yeah.
it just makes a lot of sense to start them. And now, rightfully so and understandably, just like lots of people, right, are starting them for their channels, and it's a way to communicate with people and build relationships, and it's clearly a huge plus.
Definitely. Yeah, you get the direct contact with the people who care for you most, essentially. Like, especially with Patreon, that's how that's the only way, right, to gain access to your Discord is through Patreon.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yep. So that's like, those people in there are there for you and diehards, essentially. So, and me being one, so I definitely appreciate everything you've been doing. And it was Pat Flynn on your last live stream, which was pretty awesome. I had to jump off right after he answered my question, but I was able to look back, and it was a pretty awesome stream, and all of them before that. As soon as I joined, I then gained access to all the prior ones. I was like, great, now I got 15 hours worth of Pokemon content to consume. That's it's crazy. It's highly recommended to everybody, though. It's pretty good time in there. A lot of good people.
Yeah, I mean, Dan and I definitely want to create something that has value. I mean, obviously there's so many great free channels and communities that, how do we sort of add something that's worth that $10 extra? And for us, it was doing deep dive analytic stuff that really isn't happening, on YouTube for people who are interested in that. That takes a lot of effort and time and work, for Dan and I to do those. And then, recently, bringing on people, and it's the real difference between this and YouTube is like, it's in a Zoom meeting where you can be seen on camera, and you are talking and hanging out with us and everyone, and you're actually you can ask like direct questions to Pat Flynn face to face, introduce yourself, say hi, when we bring like Rusty and Danny Phantom and like a lot of other people from the community on. And I think that lens, definitely, the conversations can be deeper. You can really go back and forth and do more discussions. In the YouTube format, the YouTube lives are great, and you can ask a question and briefly engage, but it's nothing like that, obviously. And you can't really do the back and forth that well. And yeah, it's just a lot more personal. So, and I'm a therapist, and I run a lot of groups and group discussions. So some of those like skills and how to kind of like run a group, maintain a group, kind of keep us on time, organize all that stuff. It's part of it is for that, because you do need someone to set something like that up, and so that like-minded people can come. But yeah, hopefully it's a good thing. It's a positive for like the Pokemon community and people like you and I who like are looking for that extra thing or something like that. And obviously it's a way to monetize doing what we do, which is much more niche and is like super valuable to like a smaller subset of people than sort of the bigger, broader entertainment or finance channels, who kind of make their money off of either selling packs to people or ad revenue, or some combination. And that is not of interest to me, is chasing the algorithm particularly. What's a lot more interesting to me is creating something that's worth $10 a month and targeting getting enough of those types of people rather than chasing the YouTube ad revenue and all that sort of stuff. And ultimately it's just to make it sustainable. And hopefully we'll continue to strike a balance. But making the Discord was something that came later.
Mm-hmm.
And making the Discord something that people have to pay to join is something that we've gone back and forth on. Now, I do think you mentioned one of the pluses, which is that people are generally more respectful and more serious because they're paying to be there. They want to be there. They want to meet people. They want to engage. If you get rid of that, you're going to get a lot more negativity and troll and rude people and people who want to hurt people's feelings and just say critical things to me and other people there. And it's not like, what I like is that Dan and I disagree on plenty of things. I mean, there's plenty of people. I really want people to come who like disagree with me or disagree with the way that I view the hobby or other sorts of people and want to debate and engage. It's not about creating a sort of like a hive mind. It's more about creating a place that people are mature and respectful and caring. And like ultimately, how you treat someone is way more important than any argument or any knowledge or anything that you have to me. So you could, it's like, it's never worth it. And I like people and having people, right, Hugh, it's never, and part of why I partnered with Dan is I felt very strongly about Dan's character as a human being, not to mention all of his experience and knowledge, is amazing. But, but it's just really important to me because, it can be a competitive macho-y thing, right? And people can get competitive and uncomfortable. And it's just a place where I think we've had to discipline 0 people so far, not a single person. No one has said anything. No one's come to me concerned about another person. And I think that
I'll fix that right now.
No, and I think that shows that hopefully that model's working, and that also like, people are doing a great job of like taking ownership and responsibility for the space remaining a good space for everyone. I want people to be able to come in who are new to the hobby, be able to ask questions and feel like we're really happy that you're here. That feeling.
Not get a bunch of laughing emojis and
not like a gatekeep, like you're not collecting the right way, or you don't have enough money, or like you don't know what you're talking about, or like I have the best collection and I'm much smarter and know a lot more, like any of that sort of feeling.
Definitely. It's
this hobby's filled with a lot of nerds, and we don't want any more bullying. We've had enough bullying in our lives, probably too much.
Oh, that's good. That's exactly, that's why bullies ain't gonna pay to get into a nerd chat. That's true. That's it. That's the gate right there. That's funny. I was gonna mention your other live you did for the Patreon before the Pat Flynn one was the market cap one you did. How much time did it take to put together some of that spreadsheet?
It probably took me 15 hours, something like that. So
yeah, it was a lot of data. It was a lot of data.
And, it's always up there so people can. And what I like about it too is it's going to be a great snapshot of the hobby.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to look at that 5 years, 10 years from now, and it's going to be able to, like, just having all of that data is going to be great. And I know it can be a little bit hard to be like, what do I do with that data today?
Yeah.
And what I tell people, it's more of like, I really believe that if you let sort of that data wash over you in a sense, like you will become just your instincts and your sort of skill level of navigating things will improve immensely, I think. I'm a big believer in when you're engaging in markets or games. I mean, it's why I'm a big game player, which is really just all this stuff's like big game. It's really understanding the rules and then really understanding sort of the what's happening, the nitty gritty. And part of that is getting the data, seeing the data. your feelings about what might happen next can definitely be based on really interesting things, but it's, if you don't have data or numbers to back it up, it can be problematic.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. The biggest takeaway was the Michael Jordan comparison to the whole thing. It was pretty much, it was Michael Jordan compared to, was it just all Wizards of the Coast? I can't remember.
I did it across like a ton of different Pokemon eras, I think.
Yeah.
Way up to Sword and Shield, but I didn't do like every set. But it was many cards from many sets.
All the key sets, yeah. And Michael Jordan rookie card outpaced all of them in market cap, which is
by a large margin. Yeah. Yeah.
Sports is crazy. So you're a Boston fan. I'm sorry. I guess it's better than being a Detroit fan.
We're doing great.
Better than the Pistons. I'll give you that. That's for sure. Holy cow. You
guys played us tough in some games this year, despite your record. And Cade Cunningham, I mean, you guys have a nice young team. I think that you're in better spot than a lot of other teams with a similar record. Let's put it that way, I think. And if you guys can get a nice draft pick this year, it could turn around quick. The East is tough.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I big sports fan, football primarily, but I watch all this basketball, hockey, baseball. Detroit is not a good place to live if you like winning. It's a sad town. The Red Wings have sucked for 5 years after 25 straight playoff appearances, and don't even want to talk about the Lions and Pistons also since 2006. Yeah, you got the Patriots, Celtics.
We're spoiled.
Red Sox. Just
we had years where we were the favorites to win all three.
That's insane. Yeah, I could not imagine that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. You got pick up any sports rookie cards, modern, old?
KG.
Yeah.
Larry Bird.
Oh yeah.
Those are the two. Those are my players I go after.
Have they made new era relic cards for them? Any Larry Birds or KGs?
So I mean, I am not a sports expert by any means, but I've seen some cool Larry Bird. Like they're modern Larry Bird cards coming out of new sets that have cool autographs and patches and all sorts of cool things. And I'm sure, I don't know what they do with all the what other types of relics do they do other than game worn jerseys these days and cards? I'm not even enough of an expert to know.
I've seen shoes and basketballs.
Yeah. And basketballs. I haven't seen those from Larry. Yeah. I'm sure they exist though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Relics, like what they are doing for like presidents, like the historical. I don't know if you ever look at. Do you know anything about like historical cards and the modern historical sets that they're doing, where they're doing like Abraham Lincoln's hair in a card, or like Abraham Lincoln's signature? Yeah, it's yeah, they're doing
signature would be cool. It's a little cutout. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
man, it's I don't know if you saw Golden. I think it was Golden had mocked up like a rookie patch auto Blastoise card. And it looks sick. Like it was a piece of his shell on the card instead of like the card text.
That's cool.
They did a really good job. That thing looks sick. Obviously, the animal activist would be pissed, but it'd be awesome.
As much as people are negative about like don't do serialized cards and don't do like these types of things in the Pokemon hobby, people would eat that up. Hardcore collectors, it would be and the amount of people from sports and other places that would become more interested in this, they're only not interested in it because there aren't those types of cards, would be insane. And yeah, it's
insane.
Truly, I think it's part of why MetaZoo is doing as well as it's doing, is because it's actually offering, that sort of TCG kind of, 90s-y throwbacky, art type style with serialized extreme rarity. I also think it's why the PMGs from Marvel are worth $300,000, because there's no Pokemon, there aren't pop culture. There aren't like, Star Wars version, there aren't, there are a bunch of us out there that like, and I'm a huge sports fan also, but like I would way prefer my favorite pop culture characters on those cards than I would these sports cards. I don't know exactly why that is. It's kind of interesting, but it is what it is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Magic the Gathering either did it already or is about to. Did they do it already? The serialized for one set or something?
Is it supposed to be the newest one that they're gonna do it? I don't know. I forget what Rudy said. I'm not sure. I haven't like been seeing them out or hearing about it
Me either.
this week. So my guess is it hasn't come out quite yet, or there's some speculation that it might soon. I don't know.
Yeah. It's are you familiar with Magic Modern at all?
I know all of the sets and I follow the prices roughly, but not deep knowledge, and definitely not deep playability knowledge, which is in a lot of ways deep knowledge of the value of the of each set.
Yeah, my friend plays Commander, and I bought a deck, and he bought a pack, and he opened it, and I was shocked to see there's like one dedicated art card in the packs. It's literally just a full art card, not playable, literally just a piece of art, and there's like a 13 card subset to the actual set, which is pretty freaking cool. It's not numbered by any means, but still pretty cool. Like if you could imagine having just a full art Charizard collectible card, it's not numbered, not playable, but it looks dope.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Little addition to like the numbered card thing that they could do. So that'll be really interesting. You think they'll ever do it? Pull the trigger?
I mean, I have no idea. I'm gonna say yes. Why not? Sure, they will. I don't know.
Take that here first.
They will in the next 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. On July 27th, it's happening. It's going down.
Yeah, my data points to the fact that oh my God.
Should open up your next Patreon live like that. So I got this info. Yeah.
That would be some amazing killer insider info. If I knew that they were gonna like do serialized in a certain set. Because I can tell you that set's gonna do pretty well if they ever do that. No matter how much they print of it.
It would do damn well. It would do really well. I wonder, simple like cereal, like I'm thinking like just things that like that. So Mr. Beast came out with his chocolate gold, like the Willy Wonka he wanted to be essentially, right? I don't know if you saw that.
No.
So Mr. Beast came out with, Mr. Beast is?
Yes. Yeah, I do know who
that is. Mr. Beast, he came out with this candy bar, and he basically, Willy Wonka, obviously, you got to be familiar with. Mm-hmm. He had the golden candy bars. Mr. Beast did the same exact thing, 10 candy bars in the world, in the US or wherever, through his website, would have a gold bar with a chance of getting a chance to go play for $1 million or something. I don't think it's selling very well. He is pumping those ads. Like, you got, like, I pictured like the Willy Wonka, the Baruka, the tons of people ripping open candy bars, and people are not doing that by any means. So I feel like the numbered Pokemon cards might be a little different than that, but I don't know. It's a lot of speculation. People would be like, I don't think it's in the box. I'm not going to open it. And a bunch of unopened number cards.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I do think that, when we look at other hobbies, serialized tends to open up product because people love that chance. Like it makes like the dopamine rush of opening up a product that could have like $1 million card or $1 million ticket in it. Like if there was a booster box where you could open it up and there is $1 million card, like a 1 of 1 Charizard, there's a 1 of 10 Charizard, 1 of 50, 1 of 100 parallel type Charizard. And that card was very like there's a bounty out, right? That someone would just offer because that's what happens in the sports world, right?
Yeah.
Whoever finds it gets $1 million, basically. Maybe Gary King Pokemon and maybe some other people bid him up and it gets up to 5 million. Who the hell knows, right? Whatever happens.
Yeah.
But there's some huge bounty out. Like, can you imagine? Like, I could be a millionaire on opening a Pokemon product, and I'll probably, if I don't, like, still only lose like $20. And it's a lot of fun. Do you know what I mean? So that's that. Now, if the booster box gets extremely expensive because of that, then you're going to see it be harder and harder to open and justify. But things like that, like when it still hasn't been found. I mean, that type of thing pushes more people to open. It also makes it much better content for streamers and for people to do, because now people are tuning in because, wow, I could watch this live streamer like pull this. And that's just a much better thumbnail, much better title than just like another Brilliant Star. Like, I'm going to open my millionth Hidden Fates, or Brilliant Stars pack. It's like, that can keep it fresh. So I think because of that, it would be huge. Also, it would be interesting to see how that works with like reprints, because can they reprint something then? If it's because now they have a set number of serialized cards already released, so how do you reprint? You probably can't reprint that item, or if you do a reprint, it can't have the serialized cards in it, which might create more value in that original, more scarcity of those original rarity and scarcity of those original boxes. Who knows? Be a lot for us market people to talk about and speculate on.
Yeah, I feel like speaking of that, you had mentioned in your live yesterday that CGC obviously dropped their pop report, so that'll be pretty good info to just dissect for probably a while, just to get your head wrapped around it. And your Patreon, I think you're going to go over some of that. You think?
Yeah, Dan's going to do it this month. There's going to be somewhat of a deep dive into it. We'll have a discussion about it, and then just our normal Q&As and discussions after that. But yeah, that's the plan right now. Dan's kind of pouring over that data and creating some sort of presentation.
Did you check any of your high graded CGC, see if you have any 101s, pop ones?
I haven't, and I should.
It's fun.
I do not have any like great cards. Like, all of the cards that I have CGC 10s in are like baby shinies and like that type of thing. But like, even those, I mean, I saw an amazing rare black label sell for $1,000. I bought some of these perfect 10s shinies for like $15-20. So if I could sell them for like $500 and someone's willing to buy them, hit me up. Like, I'll sell that to you in a heartbeat. Because I mean, for me, I just don't care. Like, I don't understand the premium as a collector on black labels or perfect 10s on cards that are not really important cards, and cards that there are millions of, and cards that are only 50 cents raw, and cards that like almost all of them grade at least a 9 or a 10 that exist. That's a very different thing than getting a black label on, certainly a WotC holo, or a black label even on something like a Hidden Fates Charizard, which is probably going to be like a really, historic key card, even though there's tons of them. And, and the premium, I think, is still a little silly, but I get it more for that. I have a harder time getting there for like these, a card that would be worth $10 now is worth $1,000, or, this $20 in PSA 10 amazing rare is now worth $1,000 in a black label. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I love that. Was it a Kyogre?
I think it probably was, because that's, I don't even think it was the Rayquaza. But yeah, I think it was probably the Kyogre, which is probably the second most expensive, or maybe the Celebi or the Jirachi. I don't really know which one's the most, but I like the Kyogre. The Kyogre is probably my favorite one, actually. I like the art. I think it's really cool looking.
Yep, I died inside when I saw that go for $1,000, because I probably would have bought it for $400. Not gonna lie.
You would have got, okay.
I probably would have
started.
I paid $500 for a perfect 10 one. That was a mistake. There's 3 of them that I just found out yesterday. So
So you disagree. So for you, you do see the value.
I see it, especially, I don't know. I feel like Swami was talking yesterday at PK, and I know you were in there for a little bit and then you got on your own live, but they were talking. I feel like CGC will help Modern, because PSA 10s are astronomical. Like, there's so many 10s for Modern cards that it's just flooded. And pretty much the conditional rarity will exist at CGC, not so much at PSA. So I think it'll help. Like, I feel like a CGC 10 for Modern should be closer to what a PSA 10 is pulling premium for more of the vintage, because there's less PSA 10s in the vintage stuff. So, and I feel like the CGC 10s for the Modern I feel like that's going to be the new PSA 10. I feel like assuming the grading hasn't really changed. I don't even want to get into all that garbage, but assuming that their CGC 10s stay low, I feel like they'll definitely pull a premium over the PSA 10s for Modern. Whether this probably should not cost $500 by any means. I just love it, and I had 30 of these before I got the 10, so I was happy to finally get a 10.
It certainly has the rarity. It's just a question if people want it. So, for me, I look at that card, right, and I don't care about that more than a PSA 9 version of that.
Yep.
Because they're all very mint, just being completely honest. But that doesn't mean that you look at that and you see I have one of only 3 of one of my favorite cards, I imagine. Yep. And that's amazing. And that makes a card that I really love amazing. And I get that. Like, I can understand that. Now, where the market rests on all of that, I don't really know. But all you need is a few people to have that sort of feeling or response or attitude towards it. And you can easily see $500 to $1,000 prices. You might see $10,000 price on something like that one day if, amazing rares, people just love them in the future. And, probably very quickly, but and that's like one of the only ones, or the only one, right, that ever got graded that. I way prefer absolute rarity to condition rarity.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, it just doesn't have that interest in me. But hobbies are highly subjective, right? I mean, these collectibles are highly subjective, and part of what's great is, like, collect what you love, like, pay for what you love, and the market isn't going to necessarily agree with you, particularly on something so rare. Because again, items that have massive amounts, you really need a lot of people to think or feel like you. But items that don't, you just need a few people who have the money, and they can go for any amount. So
yeah. So you liking the actual rarity, like the scarcity, is there anything modern that fits that bill? Like, are you considering like your alternate art cards like that, or are you not even that? World Promo?
They would be certainly considerably rarer than Amazing Rares, for sure. Some of these sets that have a lot of different alt arts, and I don't know the exact pull rate, off of hand, but it's probably 1 in 12 boxes or something for some sets, something like that to pull one, that sort of thing. That's a lot rarer than these amazing rares that are probably, if we're talking Vivid Voltage, I don't remember exactly that the pull rate's 2 to 4 a box, and there are how many, whatever, we can figure it out. But the point is being that it's a considerable difference in rarity. Then you do have to consider how much of each set is being printed, which we have no idea. So that's just so hard to quantify. I do think the Sword and Shield block is likely going to be printed a lot more overall than the Sun and Moon block, and the Sun and Moon block was a lot more overall printed than the first half of XY, and XY was more printed than Black and White, and so you do have to factor that in. We just don't know how to exactly factor that in because we don't know the exact print runs. But no, rarity absolutely matters. Now, scarcity is something different, where scarcity is really the idea that how much is available at any one time. So an item is very scarce, we can say, if there's none available or not enough available. An item is scarce when there isn't enough to go around. So even an item that has a lot of copies could be very scarce on the market because all those copies are in collectors' hands and they don't want to put them on the market. And so where there could be like very rare items that all 3 copies are just on the market and nobody wants them, and they're not scarce because there's just no demand and the people who have them want to sell them. So it is an important concept for sure, and something that will be interesting to see with cards like this over time, because even though they're not rare, like the alt arts are not that rare as compared to they're not a great example because they are pretty rare, but like there are cards on TCG Player right now that have less copies up than other cards that are rarer in the world, meaning less printed, but those cards are scarcer because there's a lot more demand. So or the rarities even. So a great example can be like, often, some of the biggest chase cards, won't have as many listings on TCG Player initially because people really want the card or really want that for a collection, whereas they don't necessarily want some of the other ones. So even though they might have the same pull rate, these two alt arts might have the same pull rate, and so the exact same rarity in the world, one might be quite a bit scarcer than the other because there's a lot more demand. And so there's the same amount of cards, but there's a lot more demand for those cards that are not coming on the market. I think I've repeated that point enough. But it's a confusing. I think rarity scarcity is a confusing concept that definitely deserves repeating.
Yeah. Do you think if CGC continues being tough graders, which is historically that's been the thing, do you think that could be the new PSA 10? Like it'll be the higher price?
I mean, I think of it more as just a black label, like that PSA 10 is always going to have its sort of place. In terms of what you're talking about, that like it will be what we'll see, that like 5 to 10x premium that like some PSA 10s have in WotC, that sort of idea, definitely possible. Obviously, CGC now we think we're seeing a lot of people get back 10s, as you were kind of alluding to before. We don't know if they've changed their grading standard, if that's just a fluke, or exactly what's happening. Yeah. Obviously, the pop reports right now are insanely low for those perfect 10s in CGC. So if it remains like under 2% or around 2% or whatever it is right now, I think it's under 2%. Last time I looked, maybe around 2%. That's crazy low. And considering there have been 60,000 Hidden Fates sent in and like I think 90,000 or something Evolution sent in, and there are plenty of cards that, you know, from like a Hidden Fates that you'd think would get perfect 10s. Like, and they didn't. They just didn't. So,
yep.
You know, this is not a bunch of WotC being sent in necessarily.
Yeah. Did you grade it all through CGC? I don't think you did. Yeah, no.
0.
Were you grading anything? Like when PSA went down, obviously, so you didn't send anything for grading for a while. unless you had a high dollar card, but.
Nope, I sent nothing, not a single card in for grading during the higher prices. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, but I'm not a business in the sense that I'm constantly looking to like churn everything. So if I could have absolutely made more money or made some money if I had done that in some cases. I also could have lost quite a bit of money depending on when exactly I did it, when exactly I got it back, and then how quickly I was able to sell it. So there are a number of people who made money with CGC because they were able, particularly if they were able to get at those earlier price points, and then they actually sold the items at the height. That ended up being like really good. But if you had graded a little bit later when CGC had raised their prices and then decided to just hold the items, and it was like ultra modern stuff, like a lot of those cards are worth like $9-10 right now. And if you got back a bunch of 8.5s and 8s, like, you know, you might be really, you know, underwater, depending on how much you graded. Yep. So, and you waited all that time and had all of that capital tied up, and, you know, so I don't really get involved in those timing games that much. I felt very strongly that the market was going to see a very, very large, like significant correction, or we were in a bubble and it was just a matter of time. And I was just going to wait it out and, you know, just sell the stuff that I already had. I wasn't going to buy new stuff. You know, I wasn't going to try to time things. I was just going to sell as much as I could that I didn't feel really strongly about keeping, and then just wait for it to correct and then start buying again. That was sort of my plan.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think it was yesterday in your live, that the reason you don't or aren't starting this as a business because you're all about timing. You'd rather sit and wait, sell it when you want to, buy when you see something, and not just be forced into selling to pretty much eat and sleep. So is that pretty much what you see for a while, or you have to see it changing ever?
Sometimes I think about like leaving my job and doing what Dan does for a little, or trying it and seeing if I enjoy it, if I like it, maybe taking a break, maybe trying a little bit of it. But I don't know. Up to this point, it's been 100% collecting first, hobby first. And And then second, long-term investing and sort of having things that I think are very undervalued and are going to grow in the long term or retain some good value in the long term. And then third was sort of flipping. Like the flipping was only to do the other two.
Yep.
Because that's what I wanted to do. Like I wanted to own and hold the cards. I wasn't looking to flip my way to like a medium like wage job, which, you know, I think is amazing that people can do that. It's just not something that I get excited about, that idea. You know, I really love the cards. I don't want to be, I also worry that they become, I don't know, less special. They're not yours anymore. You're constantly just, and it just becomes all about money and not about reaching those collection goals. And
all inventory.
Yeah, and that's not appealing to me. Now I know often they handle that by having their private collection and then, you know, obviously inventory, and I do that to some extent.
Yeah, like when I watch Z, his video, his collection video, it was a box of awesome cards for his daughter when his daughter turns 18. His collection existed of the 1996 basic box, and it's not that, like, if that's it, that's insane. Like everything, it's a business thing. Wheels are constantly turning, and obviously he did really well selling his first edition box and a bunch of stuff in the peak. But it'd be tough for me to be like, flip the switch. Okay, I'm a business. I want to push all my collectibles into this room.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't inventory. All right, let's start my business. Like that'd be almost what I'd have to do. But I'd feel like I'd walk into my collection room to grab a box of something and sell it sometime, because
it's just not appealing to me, the idea of like, okay, I need to make $6,000 this month to like pay all my bills and also make enough money to like invest and collect and do other things that I want to do. And in order to make $6,000, I have to sell this much and constantly do that. And I think that if you are able to really put away your private collection and then you have some money and then you just do it with that money, I think I could do it potentially, and I might try actually to do that a little bit more. And I certainly did. I've done quite a bit of selling and flipping sort of along the way, particularly earlier on. But I've never had the mindset of like, I'm going to pay my bills with this. And that would be the big shift, because it's always been like, I make enough money to pay my bills and my day job, and anything I do in this is just extra profit. And the vast majority of that I'm putting back into this hobby or into stocks. And yeah, I don't like the feeling, even though it's irrational to some degree. I don't like the feeling of like I'm selling things I love to get food or pay for my.
Yep.
Ideally, so.
Yeah, I know, and also Mason, similarly, when I talk to him and you've talked to him, he's like, I don't collect really.
Zero.
I buy for the store and I sell for the store, and the store is my collection. It's it's fluid, right? It's
which is crazy to me, because he loves this stuff. Like he's hanging out in the Patreon and the Discord all the time, just chilling, talk everything and all things at all time. That is not a man who is doing something to make money. That is a man who loves this stuff, right? Yeah. And so, you know, there are other businessmen who own LGSs who I'm sure are more burned out and just sort of like, it's just about money. They don't even like this stuff. But it is interesting to me how you love it, but you don't have that collector gene at all. So it's like, I love being around it and talking about it and selling it and hanging out with people, but I don't have any need to like collect the things that I like the best or put that away. And it's interesting for sure.
He's got his Arcanine plushies.
And I'm not even sure from talking to him that he even wants, like, it's not a like, I can't afford it. Like it's bad for my business to do that. That I would totally, that's something different. It's like I don't even think he feels the urge, which is great, and probably really important, because you're literally like I don't know how I would deal with it, but like I probably feel the urge to like put stuff back or like crack stuff open, or who knows. But
yeah, definitely. Like when he had his jungle box, I think it was a jungle box, walk into a shop and I'd be like, It'd be tough, but I get it. It's you buy it with the store's money, you sell it with for the store. So
Exactly.
it's wild for sure. You had I'd asked you about your goals, and I was hoping you'd bring up your museum that you've talked about. It's been a while, probably, but that's probably not in the near future. But what any
No,
thoughts into it at all, or what are your
yeah.
plans or wants to do with that?
I've had people like, some bigger, like, notable experienced people that have huge collections who are like interested in doing it. I think it's going to be something that will happen eventually with like a number of people from the hobby, kind of,
Yep.
and maybe I lead it in some way, or it's more of a partnership amongst a number of different people, which I think actually would be the best if it's
Yeah.
sort of um, just a meeting ground, a place where people can go, learn, enjoy, experience the hobby. Yeah,
Like a vault that you can walk through that's organized with doors and
yeah. I
pretty
mean,
much.
oh, it's right. I mean, it could be connected to an LGS. It could be connected to a place where people play. It could be connected to where we have like a collectors event every year with a big place where people can hang out. It could just be a museum in a place. Who knows?
Yeah. No, that'd be cool, man. It's I love all that old stuff. Like we have an awesome old automobile stuff here, and seeing
Yeah.
all the old iPhones and the old computer systems and just
Hmm.
all that vintage stuff is just lots of nostalgia. It's cool. Um, your work-life balance, man. I don't know how, like me, I have two kids and it's full-time job and do this for fun and also to talk to other nerds out there. And I appreciate again you coming on here. What how do you sleep much?
I'm a pretty late night person. I do a
Yeah.
lot of work. I usually go to sleep at around like 3 a.m. I do not suggest that for people. Um,
Damn.
yeah, but I wake up at around 10 p.m. most, or 10 p.m., 10 a.m.
Nice.
I wake up about 10 p.m. most
Don't
days.
just
So
hibernate.
yeah, I'm pretty weird, but I'm only awake when I'm on live stream. Otherwise, I'm sleeping. Um, so I still get 7 hours usually a night. I do wake up pretty late, as I said, and I tend to be pretty productive at night. I find my brain's awake. I find that I'm have less issues like struggling to like get to work or do things. So often I'm doing notes, I'm making videos, I'm sorting, I'm selling, I'm listing, I'm whatever it is late at night often.
Yeah. Yeah. I same. It's after the kids go to bed, it's the witching hour essentially. Grind some stuff out, listen to some lives, and it's definitely seems to be productive for me.
Yeah. And I don't have
You're
kids, so it's in terms of like time management and all that stuff, like I I work fully remotely now, and there's a lot of flexibility in that. And I still play. I play in a basketball league, and I hang out with people, and I seem to have time for things these days. So I don't feel, at least at the moment, like so fried.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's good. You got it was a girlfriend or fiance that lives with you?
girlfriend. Yeah,
She anything collectible, any like just completely way overhead?
yeah. Doesn't get it. Doesn't enjoy any of it. I've tried opening product with her. She's like, why are we doing this? Like, she's like, thank you for including me in something that you love, because I know it means a lot to you. It's like that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So just very uninterested, but also like very supportive, generally speaking. I mean, it's only unfortunate in the sense that my collectible passion and time is not something that we can share, and so
yeah,
that's time that we don't, that we're not engaging. And obviously, for anyone in relationships out there, and for you, it's important to have that time. Um, and so because of that, yeah, this is like just very separate from her. And so we have to do other things.
yeah. I've been able to incorporate my wife in this a little bit, just helping me take eBay pictures.
Mm.
And I taught her how to print and ship things through eBay. So she enjoys that. It's just something. She's a stay-at-home mom, and you couldn't pay me millions of dollars. I'd never do that job. I'd rather do it anything. I could not imagine. Just gotta love my kids. They're 4 and 2, but holy cow, just all day working with them, and then after work, you're more work with them. It'd be a grind.
Whatever works, man. Whatever works. It's just great when something works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I also, just while we were talking about Cardinal, definitely everybody go check out cardinalgaming.com. Got to give them a plug. Not sponsored by any means, but definitely go check him out. Good guy. Have you got to meet him in person yet? Probably not.
No, I haven't met. The only person I've met in person is Nick, old school, because he lives kind of near me. We've met once in person, but he's the only person I've met from online. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Collecticon will be out. You said you were going to Denver, I think?
Yeah, Denver I'm definitely 100% going to. And Sarah, my girlfriend's going to come with me too, which will be fun. We bought our tickets, so we're going. Charlotte, I'm planning on going to, the one that's coming up, and I'm still figuring out like where we're going to sleep and how I'm getting there and all that sort of stuff. But unless something, surprising comes up, that's the plan.
Awesome. You vending or just tourist?
Nah, I'm not going to vent. I just want to hang out, enjoy myself. Dan and Nick said I could throw some cards in their case, so maybe I'll do that. And but I don't want to take advantage, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's awesome experience. I went to two of the Texas ones last year and did both. I did a vending and then a tourist one, and both of them were cool. I had a small channel still. It was probably 300 subscribers, and it was pretty awesome meeting the 6 or 7 people that said, "Hey, man, I know you from YouTube," and I couldn't imagine.
Dude, that's fun. If 6 or 7 people know me at CollectorCon, that seems like a lot to me. Like I'm not expecting more than that. That's what 6 or 7 people seems like a lot to me.
I only had 300 subscribers, and I was like, dude, that's insane. So PokeRev, like when he went down to Leonhardt's thing, he didn't, that was his first event. Like he has not done an event because of COVID. That was his first one. Right. And I wasn't there, but I heard he just had no time. Pictures nonstop.
And everyone there is a YouTube person because they're all there for Leonhardt. So, because I don't think that it's not like I'm expecting even the majority of people who are interested in Pokemon to ever watch YouTube content at all. You know what I mean? They might, no idea. But certainly everyone going to a Leonhardt event is going to be in the YouTube space and and probably watching videos and probably is going to know PokeRev, a pretty high percentage. Yeah.
Yep. Well, Collecticon is, at least in the Texas ones and definitely in Florida, it's 90% Pokemon. So you'll have a great time, man. It's meeting all the different people. It's going to be awesome. And I'll be at the Denver one. Not Charlotte, but I'll definitely be at Denver and maybe Long Beach and Kansas City. We'll see, but
awesome.
Those are awesome events. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I expect to see videos of you fist pumping to Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby.
Oh my God.
For the entire song.
Should I get that all access?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Get to twerk with the Ninja Turtles, and it'd be your girlfriend would love you forever. Won't even need an engagement ring at that point. She gets meet in life.
She's gonna be a trooper, is what she's gonna be probably at this point.
You have to get her a flask or something just to.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing some other fun things on while we're there, and some hiking and seeing the sights and some other stuff. So
yeah, it's gorgeous there for sure. The Smoky Mountains are pretty close by, so
yeah,
definitely check it out. I'm gonna not keep you too much longer. I'll give you a quick rapid fire questions. You have 3 to 4 seconds to answer each one of these.
Oh God, me? That's not good. Okay.
Yep. So exactly. So you don't get to put thought into these. They're not tough by any means, but I'll start it off easy. Charmeleon level 37 Pokemon Blue versus a Venusaur level 50. Who's winning?
The Charmander.
Charmeleon. So
Charmeleon.
All right. I think Venusaur's faster and clap him in one shot, but we'll go with Charmeleon. But who's your top 3 favorite non-Pokemon YouTubers. So Rudy, you can't count Rudy.
I don't really watch that much.
Really?
Okay. I like Tim Dillon. I've seen some of his comedy recently, which I liked.
No investing, nothing, huh?
Nah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Like I watch some videos, but it's always like Warren Buffett speaking. Like I don't watch like YouTubers, if that makes sense. I watch like YouTube, but like it's other people speaking. So I don't even know who the channel is.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
What was the first Pokemon set? Topsun or Cardass?
Oh, Cardass is what people say. Yeah, Bandai Cardass is probably. Yeah.
Which one do you think, just we only had 24 hours, CGC or PSA Pop Report, which one is more, yes, thumbs up, looks good, easier to navigate?
Oh, CGC maybe. I think initially seems really, really simple.
Yeah, I think it definitely clean. It looks clean, that's for sure. Easy to navigate. Favorite restaurant?
Oh, favorite restaurant.
Don't say Outback.
I'll just go Chipotle. It's not really a restaurant, but I love Chipotle.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
Man, you don't get out much. Chipotle.
I mean, there are restaurants that I go to around here that nobody would know, but in terms of like a chain, I'll say Chipotle.
Chipotle. A Mexican Subway. All right. And favorite movie series?
Favorite movie series. Oh my god.
Last question. That was way more than 3 seconds.
Hard. I guess Lord of the Rings maybe for the series. Yeah, I like the Batman series too. Like with the Dark Knight and those three. That's really a good series.
Definitely. So that's all I had for you. The last thing, I was wondering, do you see the new Batman? Like it?
Yeah, I did see it. I liked it.
Yeah. Your girlfriend a Twilight fan?
85%, 88%. I agree. That's about how I felt about it. Like I don't think it's like the greatest movie of all time, but I liked it.
Yeah. My wife is a huge Twilight fan, so she was more excited to go see it than I was. So we got the tickets ASAP.
That's funny.
She was Team Edward all the way, so it was pretty cool. I liked it. Hope to own a Batman comic. First appearance of somebody. I like the Riddler, so those are still really expensive. But one day, man, one day. We'll see.
Yeah, I've got pretty into like the 1966 Topps Batman cards.
Yeah. Any comics? No comics?
No comics. In part because the comics are very expensive, and I'm more of a card collector, and the cards are much more affordable, and I still think really cool. But I mean, I think the comics are freaking sweet. Like they're bigger, take up more space. I think as they start to grade like individual pages and do other sorts of things that they're going to go down into, I think I might pick up some things, some cool things.
Yeah, I like just closing things here. The Heritage, they do sometimes like the screen captures or the original screen arts.
Okay.
Those auctions are pretty cool. Like you see just original drawings from animes. They did like an original anime one, which was cool. A bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, and
those are cool. The cells.
It's
those are sweet.
Still kind of pricey, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, those are the types of things I would buy to just like hang up on the wall in my room. Like I'd want to get like one or two. It would not be something that I think is a particularly investable item. But you never know.
Yeah. But all right, man. I won't keep you too long. I definitely, again, I appreciate you coming on and sitting and shooting the shit with me, and like getting to know you a little more. Like I said, I've been a big fan for a long time, and we'll keep being there for you. I appreciate all the stuff you're putting out.
You're very welcome. Hopefully, I was a interesting enough guest for people, and yeah, appreciate your time as well, and we'll have you on the channel, and then I can ask you questions, and you can talk more, and people can learn more about you. We can hear some of your opinions on the market and other sorts of things. All right.
Yeah, man. I always enjoy that stuff. It's a good time. So All right, Jake, I'll let you go, man. I'll let you get to your, it's your time to start working now. You got about 4 hours ahead of you. So
It is, yeah. Dan and I are about to have a conversation about some stuff.
okay. All right, man. But I'll let you go. You have a go until Dana said hi.
Take it easy. Thanks, man.
All right, Jake. I'll talk to you soon, man.